on live.
Are we ready?
I have 6:30, so thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's roll. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. We want to be respectful of your time, and having said that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So you guys trickle in, come on in, have a seat. If you don't know who I am Eddie Faulkner, your Assistant City Manager. I'm going to introduce our presenters this evening and also the City Council. And then we're going to go through, if you were at the last public forum, the presentation is very similar, although we have edited the last few slides to incorporate the most frequently asked questions that we've seen time and time again, either on social media or that we've had people reach out to us directly. So I'll start with the Fire Chief Dennis Benton, Police Chief Ronnie Benight, GH2 Shannon Marshall, Brian Cherry with Myers Cherry, Mayor Brenda Conley, Kyle Gibson, City Councilor, Fred Williams, City Councilor, Thomas Sweet, City Councilor. Any other councilors in this? No. Okay. Mandy and Megan. So they're with Crossroads Communications, the marketing team on the event. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Benton. He will give the first part of the presentation, and then we'll go to Chief Benight.
All right, thank you. Oh, sorry. Thank you all for coming tonight. I appreciate it very much. It shows a good interest. People are concerned about what we have and what's going on, and we appreciate you taking the time to be here and appreciate your support on this greatly. And we're going to kind of go over what we have, some needs. Of course, we're in the emergency services, so some of this stuff may sound to somebody kind of minor, but when it comes to emergency services, the seconds make a big difference, and so we're trying to speed up that flow and that process. So the top left is a picture of our original fire station that was built in 1970. It was designed for a 100% volunteer department. It has no access for anything else except for trucks and one bathroom inside there. So it's very limited on space and wasn't designed for housing anybody or a place where somebody could sleep or stay overnight or anything like that. As you can see, we've run out of space. We've got stuff crammed in the station everywhere we turn, equipment we need, stock and stuff like that. The trucks are squeezed in there. I mean, back when that station was built, trucks weren't as wide. Your early 70 model trucks were narrow, and now they're bigger, of course, and they accommodate more, have more compartments and stuff like that. So this is our primary truck that comes out of the station right here. And what firefighters have to do is we don't have a slide, we don't have a pole, as you traditionally see in most fire stations. And so they have to walk down a set of stairs that's like a residential stairs, and you can see when you first wake up in the night, it's a little bit cloudy. Sometimes you get out of bed, so they kind of almost stumble over each other, coming down the stairs, going through the kitchen. They have to come all the way through the kitchen, around those trucks, and they have to pick up their bunker gear on the side of this truck right here. Well, that space is only about this wide, and so they're swinging their arms and putting their stuff on and stuff like that before they get in the truck. And then they get in the truck and they leave, provided that's the correct truck that they can get out of there with. So if they happen to be or if they need a special truck or another truck, it's at the station across the street. So they have to do the same process, and I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, sorry, but they have to do the same process, but then they have to go across the street to the other station, open up the doors over there, and have even tighter positions to get into those trucks over there, because that station was real narrow doors on that building. Can you back up one? Sure. Make sure I didn't shoot through all that and miss something. Okay. Now we can see a picture of the bunker gear, how tight it is for them to get in the truck. And those things like petty things, but once again, that that flow to get somebody out of bed and quickly to your house is just seconds, makes a big difference. So, okay, and that station over there, like I said, it was designed in 1970. Everything was not as wide as it is now. So the last 2 trucks we even got conventional cab trucks, so they'd be a little bit narrow, so it'd be easier to get in and around the truck. So we almost have to buy trucks according to what the station size is. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is where he's talking about where they come out of the building, and they usually don't walk, but they run, and they go across the street to the other station to get another truck if they need that other truck. And that means open the door, open the overhead door, get in that truck. The doors are hitting the side of the walls in there on top of that. And there's another minute or plus of time there for them just going across the street and doing that. And like I said, we don't have a slide, so we have to make this big long trip through the station, then all the way across the street over there. And it's just seconds. I've never heard anybody say that we got there too quick. They always say what took so long, and those seconds seem like eternity to those people. And do I have another slide, or am I? Okay. All right. Oh yeah, railroad tracks. Coming right out of the station, every time we go west, we're sitting there waiting on trains. And I mean, everybody, the fire station is located right next to the railroad tracks, so we right out of the door, and boom, we run on trains the majority of the time. Where that station is located at now also is all single lane roads. So we got school zones, we got kids on bicycles, houses right against the road. It's just a bad place to deploy a fire station, but it's what we had and what we used at the time, and it worked. And we've modified it to kind of work for that, and we're going to keep this station because it is over here on this side, and we need the additional storage and stuff like that too. I talked about the school zone, talked about the train. All these roads are, stop signs and stuff like that. The new location has all got accessible roads that just make it so much easier to drive a big fire truck down, especially when you get on the highway and we head out towards like the river out here. I mean, that's 3-lane road all the way through there, and then 4-lane on the highway. And we don't have to worry about kids on bicycles or anything like that going through the residential area until we get in the neighborhood. That has been a big hindrance for us, and it happens. It'll be a slow train on the day you're in a hurry all the time. So, is that all of them? Okay, thank you. Did I miss anything, Eddie?
Nope. Good job. Thank you, sir. Chief Bennett.
Hello, I'm Chief Ronnie Bennett. I appreciate you guys coming out, really do. As you can see, we're talking about the issues of this police department. This building was built back in 1940s. If you've been around here long enough, you can remember it was a grocery store. So that became City Hall, and this originally here was the council chambers. We had this a little bitty square room back there for our property run. After the council moved next door to the new building, we put up this wall. We've got a little bit more room. But as you can see, one of our main challenges is space. We have pretty good turnout tonight, but kind of like you guys are right now, this is how we spend our life up here, stacked on each other. We've utilized pretty much every square inch of this building that we can. We had citizens, as the city has grown, victims of crime, and we have one detective, and they just could not keep up. So as growth comes with the city, it has to come with the police department also. So when we added a second detective, now we have no interview room. So if somebody comes in as a victim of crime, this is where they're going to be interviewed, right here. There is no privacy. So everybody that's in this building, because these walls are not original to the facility, they're not soundproof at all. So anything that's going on in this building, everybody hears. So that is that's a big issue. If somebody comes in, kind of like the fire department, a lot of times they see us, it's the worst day of their life. And if they've been a victim of crime, they don't want everybody to know about that. So privacy is a big thing. If they come in as a handicapped individual, that's one of my main problems is we can't get them past the front lobby. This building, there's nothing about this building that is handicap accessible. So if they come in, they have to tell their story and do their business in the front lobby with people coming in and out. So that's some of our issues. If you just look up, the building leaks terribly. The roof has been replaced, repaired. I couldn't tell you how many times, and it's failing again. So that is going to become a large issue pretty quick. So undersized. We have no space for a dispatch center. A lot of the things I think the citizens, they don't know what they're missing. Okay. Right now, if you call for a police officer, that call goes to the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office. If you call for the fire department, that call goes to the city of Tulsa. If you call for an ambulance, that call goes to Rogers County and Clamline. So we don't have a dispatch facility. With the new facility, it's going to be equipped with a dispatch center and an emergency operations center. And once that's staffed, people can come to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Okay? If you come up here now at this time of night, after regular business hours, there's a note posted on the front door that gives you a phone number to call. Okay? In emergency situations, people panic. There's no telling how many times back even when I worked the field, you'd get a call for people at the police department. There was even an ambulance, the firemen. They were needing assistance, and they came here out of panic, thinking that there would be somebody here for them. Okay, and right now that's not the case. The interviewing, like I said, that's a major problem. Evidence and process storage. Okay, this room here is basically a do everything room. Okay? This table is usually set right here. Okay, officers come in, like I said, this is the property area back here to the back, and if they come in with evidence, they have to process it on this table. Okay, package it, prepare it, turn it into those lockers right there. Okay, and then turn around and be expected to eat on this table. Okay, that doesn't seem very appealing to most people, I don't think. So basically, this is something they don't do. So if you come in to this building to do your report, this is the one docking station we have for 17 officers. Okay, and that's a problem. I mean, if you start looking at efficiency, that's probably the main problem for this. One of the main problems for this building is it's not efficient whatsoever. So, the working on the reports, we got the one docking station. If somebody has to come in, write out a statement or whatever, they have to do it off the same table that we process everything. And I'll also say, marijuana, for instance, has a strong odor, and it goes in these lockers and it goes in this room that is just, a fabricated wall. And if you don't like the smell of marijuana, too bad, because it permeates this building whenever it comes in. Okay? That's it? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief Benign. So what are we proposing? Megan, let's roll. Let's keep rolling. This is the site location. The city already owns 9.25 acres that was purchased at an ODOT right-of-way property surplus sale in 2018. That property is at the northwest corner of Pine and 193rd. It is the geographical center of the city of Catoosa. So it's not hindered by any train tracks or school zones. And like Chief Benton said previously, there is access to good, clear main thoroughfares. Here's a site plan of what we're looking at. As you can see, 193rd Place there on the bottom of the page. If you've been around Catoosa, you probably know that road is Dead Dog Road. Okay, that's Pine Street there to the south, and so for your geographics, that's where we're at this point. I'm going to turn it over to Shannon Marshall with GH2, and she will give the presentation on the facilities.
Awesome, thank you. And so, like you said, this is the site, and what we as GH2 are here to do is help bring the city's vision to life. So we've worked with both of the chiefs and the city manager and the mayor and the city department in figuring out a layout that we hope works most efficiently for everybody that's coming in and out of the site. So your public, your officers, your firefighters, and kind of coordinating that with the topography. So I guess, is it best if I point to the screen or the board? Does it matter for the camera?
Whatever you're comfortable.
Okay, then I'll point to the board. So item number 1 here is the police station in this area. They have also the call center that was described inside the facility. And then item number 3 and 4 is the fire station. So as a member of the general public coming to visit this area, you would come in on 193rd East Place, come in this central drive here, and you can either turn right or left for public parking in front of both of these stations. We've also provided gated access for the police officers and firefighters for private parking behind the stations. And then the fire trucks would be able to pull up and then through their apparatus garage building to then access on Pine Street. All of that we would work with the city civil engineer for grading and water drainage to make it appropriate for the site. The overall design aesthetics is what's shown on these renderings here on this board. You can see the site is pretty sloped out there. I know it's heavily wooded now, but if you can imagine clearing those trees and then having a nice open view and visibility to both of the stations is going to be great for a public frontage. You can see here would be your entrance into the public safety facility. And then over here we have what the entrance of the police station would look like, and down here the entrance of the fire station. We would utilize durable materials that are meant to last years with brick and cast stone, a commercial level metal roof. We would use durable materials on the interior, providing for the layout and growth space for each of the buildings, both the police and the fire station. On the fire station, we have shown 5 bays that are double loaded, meaning you could park 2 trucks in front of them in case they needed to go out both directions to accommodate for growth. And then the fire station, of course, would have bunk areas for the firefighters to sleep in, offices, a training center, dining, a covered patio for some fresh air space outside of the station. The police station would also have offices, a central training conference room, the call center, dispatch center, evidence processing, also a physical training center inside the police station as well. And then interview rooms associated with the public, and then back of house in the holding area. I think that's pretty much it for the design, unless anyone has any questions. Or we can save it to the end.
Any questions on the design? All right, thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Debbie.
If you couldn't see the rendering here on the board, you'll take a look at the screen. There's the apparatus bay Shannon was describing.
And they're all online as well.
Yes, and they are all available on our website if you'd like to see them up close. So when will this happen? If the bond is approved, we're estimating to break ground in late 2022. So we're talking winter time of this year. That's barring any supply chain issues So keep in mind the climate today is shaky at best, and we'll do what we can within our power. We estimate a timeline for construction between 18 and 24 months. So, how is it funded? So the proposition is a property tax increase, which is a general obligation bond in the amount of $20.5 million over 25 years. The GO bonds typically used for large public infrastructure projects, facilities, etc. And this is paid back through your property taxes. Go ahead. This resolution is available. This is the council action that authorized staff to move forward with this proposition. It is available both on the City of Catoosa website and ourcatoosanow.com. So what is the tax impact? These numbers are as of December 31st. Okay. Interest rates have flexed 60 to 70 basis points since December 31st. So there is a little bit of a variance, but as of December 31st, a $150,000 property value, the first year monthly tax impact is looking at $21.26 a month. Okay, that's the largest impact that will be for the entirety of the issuance. The average levy monthly tax impact is going to be $13.55 a month. Okay, $250,000 property value, your first year levy is looking at $36.35 a month, with the average levy at $23.17. $350,000 property value, the first year levy has a monthly tax impact of $51.44, with an average levy at $32.79. Any questions so far? All right. $13 a month, so we're talking about a large pepperoni pizza from Mazio's, 3 grandes Starbucks lattes, or 1 brown bag special from Sonic. Megan put that together for us. Thank you, Megan. So, any questions so far? Anything we haven't addressed? All right, take a look at our website, Our Catoosa Now. Everything that we have done so far that is related to the bond is published and is there. Every event we've had has been recorded and published. I did have some questions that came through this afternoon, and I wanted to go ahead and address those while we were here. I have not responded to the citizen yet at this time because it was prior to me walking in here. So the first question is, why is the bond issue so large, considering the city already owns the property on which it is going to build? The simple answer is the cost of construction. Between the dispatch center implementation with equipment, improvements to the site, utilities, and building material, we estimate that we're going to use every bit of what we have available of the $20 million bond. So that's an easy answer. Great question. We appreciate that. Has the city considered a less extensive plan more reasonable for a small community? The reality is Catoosa is growing. Okay? We're growing leaps and bounds. Whether it's residential or commercial, the growth is coming. We need to be ahead of that. We need to be ready for it. As you can see in this facility here, and as you saw at the fire station, our first responders do not have the best working conditions, and they really need better. It's coming. We need to be ahead of it. So, has the city considered a more economical plan without all the bells and whistles, or a small community cannot support? I'm not sure as to what the bells and whistles are at this point. No floor plan has been finalized. We have a tentative preliminary floor plan. However, we didn't want to go that far into the process until we knew where the election stood. So at this point, this facility that we have proposed will accommodate what we currently have and growth. Now, we're not talking a lot of growth, we're talking 10% growth over the next 20 years. Okay? Has the city taken into account the very bad timing of this bond issue when citizens are just concerned about making ends meet? Absolutely. we understand that the climate, the economic climate today is not ideal. This is something that the city has considered for a number of years, even prior to our administration. Between the council and staff, we're at a point where now is the time. We have to move forward, and we've got to be prepared. So we know it's a bad time. Unfortunately, I don't think there's ever a good time for a tax increase. But at this point, it's something we've got to do. I will share that every one of your admin team that is standing here providing you information about this proposition will pay the same taxes that you will. So we're all in this together. We're not asking for an increase that we won't pay ourselves. Has the casino been approached or offered anything in support of the proposed construction, given that it would benefit from the bond issue and given the fact that there are undesirable issues which develop and are not limited to the confines of casino property, yet are a drain on Catoosa police and fire resources? The answer to this question is no, the casino has not been approached and asked to fund a new police and fire station. Okay? In years past, and you will likely see in the future, an agreement between the Cherokee Nation businesses and the city of Catoosa for police and fire services. That is an agreement that both parties come to mutually. It is not something that's expected, nor is it something that is a given. It is, however, much appreciated. I can tell you the Cherokee Nation realizes that their venue here has a large impact on our resources, and they are, one, very appreciative of us, and two, they're always willing to come to the table. So, no, in short, we haven't approached them to make this proposition go further. However, I can tell you there is an agreement that will probably be forthcoming in the future for police and fire services. So,
By agreement, do you mean they're paying for the police and fire services?
yes, by agreement, the Cherokee Nation would be paying for police and fire services. So, and that has been in the past. Those are the questions that we've gotten the most out of. So why does the city need to build a new public safety complex? You're sitting in the best example right here. As Chief Benight said previously, this station was constructed in the 40s. The fire department, well, the first piece was in the 70s. However, the other station in the late 90s. Neither facility was built or intended for public safety use. We've made it work. And don't take this the wrong way. These facilities have long served their purpose. When Catoosa was in a position that this is what we could afford, this is what we could have, they have been great. So it's not that the facilities haven't long served their purpose. However, there's no room for additional records, personnel, etc. Why did we choose to fund this through a general obligation bond? If you heard at the fire station, our sales tax rate is 9.583. Okay, that is really close to 10%. The city has this smaller portion. The state has the largest. So of that 9.583%, 3.25% of that goes to the city. Okay, that's what we fund your city services with: police, fire, animal control. Anything city related is funded through that sales tax. This would be the first property tax that would fund city services since the initial installation of water and sewer infrastructure in the late 1940s. The cost of the bond, it's $20.5 million. The proposed bond would expire in 2048, that's 25 years. The bond would affect all property taxpayers in Catoosa. So that means homeowners and business owners alike, developed or undeveloped, the same way. Whatever your assessed value is per the county assessor will have this property tax. Why can't we rearrange the existing budget to build a new complex? That's my favorite question yet. The annual expenditure budget for the city in its entirety is $16 million at best. Okay, that includes general fund, that's the Public Works Authority, that's the Catoosa Industrial Authority, and the Economic Development Authority. That's everything the city does. $16 million. This complex, the first cost estimate is $13.2 million. Okay, that doesn't include furniture, fixtures, and equipment, or dispatch services, or utilities. So in comparison, you can see where the current city budget couldn't reasonably be rearranged to fund this facility. When will we see the benefits? You will see movement by the end of the year. Where will it be built? We've covered that. Northwest corner of Pine, 193rd Place. What happens if we don't pass the bond? That's the elephant in the room. The first answer is nothing. Okay. The second answer is we have an obligation to take care of our first responders. So whatever that looks like, that's what the city is going to have to do. But at this point, if this does not pass, nothing will happen. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You know me, Mr. Faulkner. I'm Cammy Hayes. I live at 205 Chieftain Wadey Drive. I looked at the sample ballot, and it says that the obligation is only for 10 years, but your presentation says it's for 25. So, could you explain to me why there's a difference between what's said on the sample ballot versus what the presentation is that you gave tonight?
I have not seen the sample ballot. I can tell you the proof that the county election board has sent to me says 25 years.
Okay.
Now, it does have an interest rate up to 10%, and I don't know if there's a misunderstanding on that piece.
Okay.
But that's not saying the city is going to pay 10%, but the regular verbiage that you put in the ballot is up to 10%.
The other, I don't have any questions. I just have a comment.
Sure.
As someone who's lived here for quite a number of years now, and I appreciate the situation that we're in, but I am also one of those people who's very concerned right now with the fact that this is coming at a time when everything is going up in price. If this bond passes and you get your funding, I would hope that you would take into consideration the cost on all of us that don't have the privilege of working and living within Catoosa. I have to travel to downtown Tulsa to do my work at a law firm, and I have to come back. And that when this obligation is finished, you will retire it and not use the money or have the extra income that you're coming in and try to find other projects to use where we're stuck with a permanent tax. I would hope that that would be considered, because we do not know what the future holds, but all of us are trying to get by the very best we can, and I have no problem with hoping that we could upgrade our services. And it would also seem to me that, like you said, it would make a lot of sense if you guys worked closely with Hard Rock in order to get the Cherokee Nation to have some sort of buy-in besides just paying for services. Ever since I lived here since 1999, I have seen the drastic changes that have gone on since Hard Rock came in. It's been great for the city, but at the same time, it has been an expense on our on the resources, and that area down there kind of gets a bad rating, and so Catoosa in general gets a bad rating, that this is a place that there's a lot of crime. I've never experienced a lot of crime in my years living here, but I could see where that happens if people are getting held up or there's issues going on the freeway or all the other things that go on around the casino. So I would hope that something would be worked out where maybe there could be some kind of partnership or buy-in that would help reduce the cost to those of us who have to live here and work here in order to get this done if it passes. So
Absolutely.
those are my comments.
Absolutely. I appreciate your comments, and I want to say that first we want to thank you for being a resident here, and the fact that you are a resident is even more important, that your services are not interrupted. You said you live in Chief Stanwady, which I know this, we visited before. You could be directly impacted by a train on the railroad tracks.
Right.
It's also important to know that the facilities will be located better, not only for your response time, but also for Cherokee Nation response time.
And I totally agree with all that, like what
Yes.
we've discussed before. I think that's a great plan. I don't have a problem with doing what needs to be done, but it is a concern of the fact that the timing, which you've addressed,
Yes, ma'am.
but also the fact that it seems to me that just in general, once a government or a city or a state gets a hold of some tax money, it never comes back to the constituents. They just like to have that money coming in. And based on what you said, I did quick math based on my house value, that's another $182, roughly give or take, that I've got to come up with when my escrow comes due, and now they want me to prepay that all in 1 year. So these are the things that it would be nice if the city council and other people who are involved in the administration of it would think long-term enough that once this obligation is done, you could give some of that money back to us. You may not need all that 10%.
Absolutely. So in 25 years when this expires, I hope I'm still here.
I hope I'm not dead either.
But I can't speak for what a future administration may do. I would say that you're right in your assumption. Most people, once that tax is there, they renew it, and there's generally a need for that. So it's not an arbitrary let's go tax and tax and tax. I can tell you, the staff here, the council here, are well aware of the economic climate, and we don't like paying taxes either. But it's a part of it, and so it's a sacrifice that we all are going to have to make for the improvements that are necessary. But I appreciate your time and your comments. Thank you, ma'am.
And to be clear, it will expire and could not be renewed without another vote of the people.
That's correct. So when it expires in 25 years, it would take another vote of the people to renew it. So it's not just something that staff could wake up one day and say, I think we'll just float another $20 million.
Oh, I understand that. I understand all of that.
Absolutely.
But I'm just saying that's the basis of what you kind of tend to see. And also I would hope, given the fact that costs keep rising, once this bill is, if it is passed, that construction can stay within its budgets. Same with like what's gonna happen with the school. That they can stay within the budgets that they've been given. So, I know, people will say, oh, we got it, well, costs have gone up, costs have gone up. Guess what, my salary hasn't gone up, and I'm supposed to live and manage my household with the salary that I have from my employer. So I would hope that the city would do the same thing.
I can tell you we have taken those steps by having GH2 and Myers Cherry involved at an early stage. We wanted to be very conservative on this project, and we have scaled back considerably given the first plan that we had to ensure that this project will be within budget. So we're confident in our partners in this project, and that's what I can say. So,
Very good,
thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you will walk through the police station here. The chief's here, the assistant chief's around the corner there somewhere. We'll give tours and make sure everybody gets a chance to see the rest of the facility.
Eddie, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
For senior citizens
Yes, sir.
that are over 65 and fall in the qualifications, their property tax is frozen.
Uh-huh.
It won't affect them.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Your property taxes are not frozen. Your assessed value of that piece of property is.
Okay.
So it
That's what I
will
wanted to
make
make
a difference.
Yes, so thank you, Mayor Conley. Fred's question was, if you're over 65 and your property taxes are frozen, which is a misnomer, if you will, what happens is there's a senior valuation freeze on your net assessed value. Okay, that doesn't mean that bond obligations do not increase your taxes. That can take place, and that will take place in this instance. Yes, sir.
But it does not affect military.
That's correct.
And we
Veterans.
had that question, so.
If you are a veteran on 100%, and you meet those qualifications, there is no impact to you. All right.
That's good.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Everybody